Right, I'm going to put some numbers in front of you, and they're going to sound absolutely ridiculous, but I promise you, every single one of them is real. Every single week, I'm going to be putting out over 70 pieces of content across all my social media platforms. That's not a typo, that's not an exaggeration. 70 posts per week going out consistently, easily. When you add that up across the month, that's going to be nearly 280 social media posts. And when you add in email marketing campaigns on top of that, that's going to be 310 pieces of content going out from one person each month. And again, easily and effortlessly, right? I'm not working 18-hour days. I'm not burning out. I'm not here until midnight hammering away at my keyboard. I'm not outsourcing absolutely everything. This is just me running this system with a few people focusing on distribution. It's that simple. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do this because there's a system behind it that I've built on AI. And once you put this into place, it will completely rethink what is actually possible for you in the business that you're running. So I'm going to break this down into 3 parts. The first is the actual operating system itself. Then you've got the foundational structure, and then you've basically got the element that's going to make the volume possible. And then most importantly, how to actually get it sounding like you so it's not generic, robotic shit. That just sounds awful, right? So stick with me on this one because I believe that this could completely change how you basically just approach scaling your personal brand, because as we know, the hardest thing when it comes to scaling your business is staying on top of your business, but also then staying on top of what you need to do for your personal brand as well. So I know this video is going to help. So this is something that I see all the time, right? Business owners, coaches, consultants, service providers, you know that you need to be posting more. You know that visibility matters, and you know that consistency is going to be the one thing that actually builds trust and attracts clients. And then basically you've got like a static point where you can only stick to 5 posts per week, or you're doing 3, then 4, and you know that it's not enough, right? And most of those posts aren't even performing that well either, right? And then life gets in the way, client work gets in the way, you get busy, and suddenly you've not posted in 10 days, right? And that cycle just keeps repeating itself and repeating itself because it's going to go based on how motivated you are, or if you have a quiet week or a busy week, or someone shows up or you don't show up. And the reason that that cap is there is because every single post that you put out requires you to sit down and do it from scratch, right? Think about an idea, edit it, format it, schedule it, post it, and then do it all again the next day, right? And it's a completely manual process, right? And manual processes do not scale, as we know. It's physically impossible, right? You are the bottleneck in every single part of your business, especially with your personal brand, right? And I know this because I used to be the same. I'd be sat there for hours and hours and hours trying to get Instagram captions right, or an email subject, or copy. Whereas now, 45 minutes, like I can do 4 months worth of content, let alone a single post. And it just comes down to making sure that you've actually got your system set up properly, right? Then the next thing is, it's not a ceiling of talent, like it's a ceiling of ideas. Like you've got plenty of those, right? The ceiling is the fact that it takes you so long to actually put those ideas into action, right? And I see business owners who are absolutely brilliant at what they do. They're getting unreal client results. Like even the content that they do put out there is class, but they're not actually extracting that, merging it, and then compounding it to create it into something incredible. And it upsets me because I'm like, oh my God, these people are so good, but they're not even maintaining their own personal media production. They're not even staying on top of the type of volume that they need to put out into the market to actually be seen and heard. So I'm going to basically take you inside how this works, right? And I'm going to have BTS footage showing the screens. I've got loads of different angles coming in today with this video. So you're about to see an overview to all of this stuff in action, right? So before I even think about AI, before I even think about what tools I'm going to use, the first thing that I'm going to do is focus on what the actual operating system is. So the actual foundational schedule that dictates what goes out, when it goes out, and where it goes out. So I've got a weekly content operating system which has my AM posts, PM posts. I have my coach consultant post, my YouTube, and I just have it all on one easy single Google sheet. And guess who built that? Claude, right? I basically just described the operating system that I want, and then it meant that when I come to completing my content and my weeks and my ideas, it's really easy because I just go onto my code or my projects and I get the content ideas, fit them into the gaps, and then I can go straight into actual production. But it's really important to make sure you've got an overview to everything that's going off. Don't just rattle out an output on projects, because you need to have that critical refinement for planning yourself as well. Right. On top of that, right, that's going to be 7 days per week, morning, PM, and my consultant page. And then on top of that, I'm now going to be doing 3 YouTubes per week. As you've seen, one's going to be a demo, one sit-in talk, and then Sunday night's going to be this like high-level edit one where I want to show you as much as possible. So can you see the type of volume that you actually need to scale a company? Like, I'm not doing this just for the laugh, or I do enjoy it, don't get me wrong, but I'm doing this because it's necessary to get to the next point of where I want to go in business. And for you right now, if you're not even sticking to posting 7 days per week, like with these AI systems now, guys, people are going to be doing quadruple 5 times what you are. Like, you need to keep up with it, right? So when you stack all of that together, that is going to be 310 pieces of content per month. And that's my new minimum commitment that I will be doing with running content. And you're going to see it if you follow me across all different social media pages, right? Every single piece of content is planned in advance. Every single piece of content has its place in the schedule. Every single piece fits into a wider content strategy that I'm running in terms of campaigns. I know what topic I need to be covering on a Monday morning. I know what I'm talking about on a Wednesday. I know what I'm going to be doing on my YouTubes and everything, because it's all done and planned in advance. All I've got to do is go in and do that tiny little bit of creative refinement, right? The level of planning is not obsessive. Like, literally, I've got my master sheet, I run my ideas, I select what I want to post. Once I've got my selections of the hooks and structures, I run that through my AI. It gives me the scripts, gives me the captions, it gives me the thumbnail copy, it gives me everything, right? So the operating system is the sheet where you map all of this out, right? It's the thing that makes everything sustainable, because it knows what needs to be edited, what needs to be posted, what time it needs to be in, what the hook is, if there's a ManyChat trigger on it, and you've just got that centralized operating system, which for me is so important. And the level of clarity that it basically allows you to have without feeling overwhelmed is just ridiculous. Like, when it comes to actually filming content, you're looking forward to filming content because you've not spent loads of energy sitting down having to map all the content out, script it all, write all your captions. So you then basically have that extra bit of time and energy to just get that execution, that stuff that really counts on social media, like what your energy is like how invested you are into the actual piece of content that you're putting out. And this is somewhere where I feel like people fall short on, because they're just trying to do everything manually still, right? So once you've got the foundation right, which for me is the master operating system, the overview to every single channel that you've got going available, running your production however you want, you'll be able to see on screen how I've just been doing mine. But the foundation is the first piece, right? The second piece from that point is training it on your voice, right? This is where people get stuck, and I completely and utterly understand why, because most business owners will hear AI content and they automatically will think like robotic, generic, it sounds like everyone else. And honestly, if you just speak to ChatGPT, yeah, you're probably going to get that type of output, right? And it's going to sound absolutely terrible, but if you've watched my YouTubes for a while, we ain't got ChatGPT-itis, right? It's going to sound like every other piece of content that hits the feed. It's going to have the exact same phrases like in today's, or here's the thing, or like common things that AI will speak about, which is just so annoying, right? And you're going to look at it and think, yeah, this is not me. And it sounds nothing like how I communicate, and then you're going to fall out with AI. And that is where people give up. They try once, the output was absolutely rubbish, and then they walk away thinking that AI content and support is not for them, right? But what's actually missing is the difference between AI content that sounds robotic and AI content that sounds exactly like you. Is just training it. It's literally just giving it a bit of time, right? I don't mean some overcomplicated technical process. I mean just literally showing AI how you communicate. When I say training it, I mean just feeding it your actual voice, your past content, your phrases, your rhythm, how you speak, how you write, what you say naturally, any transcripts that you've got. And once you've built all these transcripts out of you talking, like if you've ever recorded a video, done a podcast, jumped on a coaching call, whatever you've got, feed that into the AI, get it to articulate it and compound it to make sure it matches your speaking exactly. But most importantly, when you are training it to speak like you train it to not speak like itself. That is the missing piece that people really, really, really forget, right? And when you start doing this, like outputs start to sound like you, right? Because AI has learned how you communicate. It understands like internet, like communications in general, like corporate blog structures, writing an email or an Instagram caption or whatever it is. It knows all these formats and these frameworks, but now you can just use your voice for it to be running that output. So all of the media channels that you're not currently running, it's no longer an excuse to not be doing it, because as soon as you've got your voice transcribed into AI properly, the possibilities are endless, guys. You can literally do anything, right? So over time, and after a few rounds of iterations and refinement, right, the AI will start nailing it. It will start producing content that if you showed it to someone you know, they would not have a clue if you didn't write it or not. And that's where most business owners and basically all people really they never get past that rubbish output, and they never get to that point of actually seeing it working because they ain't got the patience to do it, and they give up at step 1 when the magic happens like at step 2, step 3, step 4 and step 5. Right? The training is absolutely everything, because once it's done properly, the quality of what comes out on the other side is like, it's unrecognizable. It's absolutely scary. It's frightening. Right? I can produce a full Instagram caption in under 3 seconds. I would be able to produce a full annual, every single day, 360-day social media strategy in my voice, on my topics, on my life, on my brand within 5 minutes. I swear on my life I could do that easily, right? So the next thing that you've got to focus on from that point is the engine, right? You've got the operating system, you've got the voice, now you've got to think about the engine. So the tool that I use for basically processing everything is Claude, like you know, right? And especially something called Claude Projects, because you can then get that trained over time more. So for anyone who has not come across this before, Claude is an AI platform where you can basically build these projects inside, where it's almost like an independent workspace. So it's got instructions, which is the direction of how it actually runs that space. It's got knowledge, which is like its brain. Then you've got the prompt itself, right? So the way that it works is you set up individual project spaces, and then each project space is trained on a specific content type or a specific area of your business. So if I've got a project space for Instagram captions that knows exactly how I write captions, it knows my style, my tone, my formatting, my hooks, my call to actions, the length that I like, the energy that I bring, everything, right? Then I've got space for everything. Emails, done, right? YouTube's done. Client assets, done. Sales analysis, done. Like, once you've got that output right and you've got that instruction right in that project, you're moving on to your next problems, right? I've even got a project for YouTube transcripts. So for example, I will get this video, get the transcript, stick it into my project. It'll write my description, write my timestamps, write my call to action links, give me titles and give me thumbnail copy to use. That'd normally take me 60 minutes after filming this right now, right? So the big crucial part, right, is these are all trained independently. So they're just trained based on like everything that I want inside of that space. They are not going to talk to each other, and you don't want them to either. It's the biggest conversation I have with people. I don't want my Instagram content getting trained on what I'm doing for my email writing, or what I'm doing for a lead magnet, or what I'm putting through my finance reporting projects. And if you go onto my description on this video, I think I should be in there. If not, I'll add it. But you can look at the length that you can actually go to with these projects. I don't want them to speak to each other. I want that space to become more trained over time, which it will, the more outputs that you run into it. So once I've opened a project, I will give it a topic, the angle, the brief, and basically just a couple of sentences about what my business is. I will then either custom write up an instruction, or I will ask it to give me instruction based on what I want. And then I've got that for Instagram, email, LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, meta ads. And this is just on projects, by the way. This has got nothing to do with code, which is up on my screen, which I will do videos on at some point as well. So when it comes to that initial 310 pieces of content per month, it's not a flex, guys. It's easy. I could do 620 pieces of content per month if I wanted to. The breakdown for me now is actually having distribution for people to be able to handle what is going out, right? And that's why I've hired quite a lot of teams recently, because AI enabled me to buy more time back alongside increase my profit margins. I've now been able to have an executive assistant team, an administration team, a content distribution team, and everything. And it's not a content team coming in and taking over my stuff, because it's my brand, it's my voice, right? I'm using AI to generate everything, but it's on my book, it's on my human knowledge, it's on my transcripts. My AI knows me more than I know me. My AI is better than me in every way, shape, or form. And this is where you need to get to a point of understanding that once this AI system is set up, stop fighting against it, lean into it. Right, so when you're looking at a daily workflow with this in action, I want to paint a picture of what this actually looks like on a daily basis, because I think that's where it really clicks for people. So I sit down in the morning, right? I have my operating system, which you'll have seen on screen at some point on this video. Input in exactly what content I want to do. So not on a day-to-day basis, I do it on a week-to-week basis, but if you want to do it on a day-to-day basis, that's fine. I input 7 days worth of content across all the channels that I'm running. I use AI to give me all the ideas, but I like human intuition. I could easily get AI to run 7 days worth of content for me on autopilot, but I don't believe in that, because I think that personal branding is even more important than it's ever been before. So I like to select what pieces of content I'm going to put out based on the ideas that it's given me. But once I've got my YouTube titles, I've got my demos, I've got my hooks for Instagram, hooks for Facebook, hooks for emails, hook for everything, yep, done. I'm happy. Once I've got these initial 3 seconds locked in, because that is the most important part. Like my email subjects since using AI and again my motherboard dashboard, which I will talk to you all about soon. I've gone from a 38% open rate to a 58 to 60% open rate on my emails. That's all AI. That's not me. I'm not guessing my subjects and suddenly getting better. Right? So once you've got that set up, right, I want you to compare the old way. You wake up in the morning, right, you got 45 minutes to think about a piece of content, another 45 minutes to create the piece of content, another 45 minutes to write the caption. And that's for one post per day, right? And one post per day is nowhere near enough to make the type of impact that you want inside your business, right? The quality doesn't drop, right? It's about making sure that you are doing it for the right reasons. You are selecting the piece of content that you're happy to speak about. You're not just letting it rattle off and run and bypass permissions and chuck anything out there. That's why the operating system is so important for me. You need to be selective. You want to look and see, this is actually what I want to post, or based on what I do now, I have my API data that gives me my 7 days feed in the last 7 days, and then it also scrapes 30 of the biggest people in my network and in my space, and also then gives me an informed decision on the next 7 days, right? But that's a few YouTubes down the line before we start even getting into the coding element and what you can do with APIs, interactive dashboards, and everything on that side. So what this actually means for your business, I want to zoom out, right? Zoom out. Let's get back in the room, because I want you to really think about like what this level of content output will actually do for your business. Not only because you're going to show up upwards of 70 plus times a week, right? You become the person that people are going to because you're always dropping value, you're always in people's faces, you're always making impressions. And what you always need to understand is like presence beats perfection. Perfection is great, and you might have a post that goes viral, but it's very rare to replicate that all of the time. Volume and presence and impact and positive impressions is the thing that makes money in marketing, right? Not just one-off look that you get from one video, right? Your audience does not care about perfection. They care about you being consistent. They care about you being regular in their face. They care about like them getting to know you. And when you put in higher volume content out like this across all platforms and distribution, like you're gonna build a much better personal brand and a much stronger personal brand, because when you get to this point of having these level of impressions, like it sells to people before they even like get on a call with you. So mine isn't just AI generated content. Like I fed my AI my book, my life stories, my own human knowledge. It knows everything about me. So like when I'm doing a middle of funnel trust based piece of content, it's 100% my IP. It's just the fact that the AI is doing the work for me. And when you've got these systems set up properly in the back end, you are never going to be out of content ideas. You are never going to be a bottleneck in content. The only thing that you'll get to a point of having a bottleneck on is distribution, which you can 100% use different tools for distribution. It's just that I personally am not that happy with it yet. And I think that manually posting is really, really important because it means that someone can interact with the platform as it goes out, right? But it's not about being on social media just for the sake of it. It's about building a machine that is going to generate visibility and generate clients consistently without you having to manually grind for just to turn up on social media to even never even get to a point of actually breaking through to the right people. So if you're sat there right now and you're thinking, this sounds incredible, where do I even start, right? All I want to do is I want to give you the most simple, easy starting point, right? Number one, map out your operating system. How many posts are you doing per week? How many different platforms? Management for the hooks, management for editing, managing for production, managing for 7-day latency views, managing once it's posted, right? Once you've got all of that, you've got your operating system. Next, focus on your voice, right? Get as much on your voice as humanly possible. Get it transcribed, get it broken down. I would not recommend doing too much high volume in terms of context, because AI will scan it better when it's got like a little bit less, and you can shorten 500 Google pages down into 50 by asking AI to summarize how to speak like you, to then add it to its global and Claude MD. Right, and you don't need to go from 0 to 310 overnight, but you do need to get to a point of letting this stuff actually help you. And this is literally just for personal media production. I am going to do every Sunday night is going to be a video on how AI has changed my life when it comes to every single area of my business, when it comes to organization, when it comes to operations, when it comes to management, when it comes to personal standards, when it comes to finance, when it comes to reporting, when it comes to KPIs. Every Sunday night, I'm going to be dropping absolute bangers, guys. So I would love to see you coming back every Sunday. All right, if you're not subscribing, please subscribe. I'm going to be putting out a lot of volume of content, which is going to really help you. Obviously, on Instagram at the moment, I've got the daily reel series, which I'll also be putting out onto shorts with Claude demos as well, guys. But if you are interested to find out what we do at the Coach Consultant, we have 3 different programs to support all business levels. For me, I don't care how much money someone's earning. I care about who they are as a person. If someone is a good person, they are genuine, they are willing to work hard for a future that is theirs and right to be owned, then I will break my back to help you with every single thing in your life and every single thing in your business, right? That's my values. I believe in doing it right. I care about people. And this is why I'm so hard on this right now, because when you properly get into this, like I have done in the last 12 months, it will completely and utterly change your life. Not just in terms of money, but the level of headspace that you get back and that new founder level energy coming through, like what I've not felt before for a decade. I've done this for a long time. It will change your life, guys. And if you are interested to find out about what we do at the Coach Consultant, like I said, go to the description. I have got endless free resources in there. I've got a personal brand and AI adoption assessment. I've got an AI mastery mastermind on Claude skills. I have got my emails. And if you do want to just directly get straight onto a call, which is going to be no bullshit, high pressure in any way, shape or form, then all you need to do is just hit the call link in my description. You'll be chatting with Ben Mahmood, my best mate. I've known him since I was 3 years old. Like, we're good people at the Coach Consultant, and I really hope to see you inside my program at some point. Thank you.